Oh, testing, 有聲啦。Okay, so now let's brace ourselves for the last video, which would be extremely long video. Okay, 好嘛？嗱，in this video, we're going to talk about the calculation of deposit creation, but most of the time using a balance sheet. OK，好嘛？因為最緊要其實係呢個啦，出得最多 DSE 嘅，basically is on balance sheets and calculation of their deposit creation. And we will end this video with the concept of money supply versus monetary base. 嗱，到時先算，好嘛？嗱，can we go to page 191? OK，191 of your textbook. Now your textbook actually did quite a good job in illustrating the deposit creation process. OK，好嘛？嗱，here first of all, let's recall your BF concept. OK，一個好重要嘅 BF concept 啦。In a balance sheet, OK，叫得做 balance sheet 啊。Basically, the left hand side has to be equal to the right hand side. 你阿 Sir 唔係叫 debit credit 咩？OK, I'm avoiding those terms. 費事啦，你話阿 Sir accounting 喎，no. Remember, left hand side has to be exactly equals to the right hand side. 如果你話唔對點算啊？唔對咁咪你錯咯。Of course 阿 Sir 包唔到喎，咁你咪有問題咯。OK，好嘛？So this is a very important concept. Now let's begin with the original situation. Original situation, we have reserve 1,000, deposit 10,000 and loans 9,000. OK，嗱記住啦，係嘛 ？Always basically for DSC, asset will always be reserve and loan, while liabilities will always be deposit. 嗱，for those of you who still remember Mr. Charles' teaching，你又唔係話阿 Sir 周 Sir 唔係教 liabilities 唔係我爭人嘢咩？點解 deposit 會係我爭人嘢 ？Boys, this is a balance sheet of a bank。你掟錢入銀行，所以其實係銀行爭你錢啊。I put 10,000 into the bank as deposit. The bank is owing me. OK，佢爭我1萬蚊啊，我隨時啊，係咪啊？I can try to also right. I can take money anytime, so they owe me money. OK，嗱呢個係最原先嘅狀況。好啦，嗱 in our case, you will see banks. Let's assume it is not holding any excess reserve, only has reserve and loans. Okay, no excess reserve. So here in our case, what would be the required reserve ratio? 如果呢度係冇 excess reserve 嘅話 so here would be 1,000, okay, which would be the minimum reserve divided by 10,000 deposit, which would give us here 10%。原來啦，而家個 RRR 係10%。OK， 好嘛？ So this is the initial situation. Now, let's look at what happens next. What happens next is that someone, let's say, deposit 1,000 cash into the bank. So what happens immediately? 嗱，呢個係即時嚇，唔該你寫低佢啊。This is the immediate effect. 即時會發生嘅事就係咁啦。Reserve and deposit, because someone put money, actual money into the bank. Therefore, the bank would have 1,000 more actual money. 係咪佢都係多咗1,000蚊實質嘅錢啊嘛？係咪啊 ？Reserve increased by 1,000. Obviously, they put in as deposit. So deposit, okay, would increase by 1,000 as well. 好啦 now remember, now here, let's calculate what is the, under the new deposit, what would be the new minimum reserve? 11,000 times 10%. So the new required reserve is actually only 1.1K. But look at this one. We have 1.1K. we have 2,000. So right now, we have excess reserve of 9,900. OK， 見唔見啊？我哋多咗900蚊 excess reserve 貨。So banks, what would they do? If you remember from the process we mentioned from last video, which is here. If you remember, banks would loan out excess reserve 係咪啊？佢會再借翻啲 excess reserve 出去啦。Okay, so what happens is that you see reserve now would be loaned out as loans 係咪啊 ？Okay， 得唔得？嗱 ，so this is the first step 係咪？第一個人掟錢入嚟，於是佢銀行將個 excess reserve 借出去 ，loan out the excess reserve. Now what happens if the loan here is redeposited into deposit? 好啦，而家佢又掟翻入銀行裏面。Okay, so immediately we have this number and we have here plus 900 plus 900 又嚟咯噃。The minimum reserve would be 11900 times 10%, which should be 1190. 我哋望一望啦。But here 1190 and 2000, you see we have excess reserve of 810. Okay, 810蚊啦。So what happened? The bank would again loan out this amount. Okay, loan out this amount. So you see, let's say this 810 is then redeposited. So boys, do you see? This process would keep on going until when? 記唔記得啊？上課我哋講過啦。Until no excess reserve， 直到冇晒 excess reserve 為止。So this is basically a sum to infinity， 一路碌到 infinity 為止。Okay， the final process would be like this。原來我哋咁諗嘅 ，boys。Do you notice something funny going on？ 嗱喺呢個例子裏面咧 ，Do you notice something funny going on？ We have reserve 2,000。嗱 ，it starts with 1,000。Now someone inject money 2,000。OK， 好嘛？跟住咧，經過咗呢個 redeposit，do you see it is again 2,000？ So boys, the key point is that in the final balance sheet, sum to infinity 之後咧， you will find that reserve has not changed by the process。 除咗第一下加1000，成個 credit creation 嘅 process has it changed the reserve？ No， 係冇 reserve 係冇變過㗎。So if we are talking about maximum credit creation， 如果我哋係講緊 maximum 嘅 ，what does that mean? It means that these 2,000 would have no excess reserve。 如果要做到 maximum， 係咪即係佢冇 excess reserve 啊 ？Okay, remember the three criteria: no excess reserve, no cash leakage, sufficient demand for loan, right？ 係咪啊 ？No excess reserve。既然2000蚊就係個 minimum required reserve， so here we can take this deposit equals to, or I should say deposit times 10%, which is the RRR， 因為而家2000蚊係個 minimum 啊嘛。So how do we get deposit? Basically, we solve this equation. You will find that deposit is just 20,000。 好啦，減翻出嚟 loan 就係咁多啦。OK， 得唔得？ So I think the textbook, actually the second edition, did quite a good job Okay, quite a good job in illustrating the process of credit creation. OK，好嘛，嗱呢個就係個 calculation 啦。OK， the calculation. Now let's go to our notes to look at more examples and a lot of past papers. OK，好嘛，好嗱，咁我哋攞翻份 notes 出嚟啦。For X3, let's go to page 16. OK, let's go to page 16. 嗱 M0 我哋未識嘅 M0 我哋未學，唔好理住。OK, do you remember, boys? For money supply, basically it is cash held by public plus what? 記唔記得？ Plus all the deposit. So in our case, public is holding 100 cash. 100 plus deposit. Okay, 好嘛？ This is the so original money supply. This amount. OK， 好啦，阿 Sir， 有啲字喺度，有啲好奇怪字咩嚟㗎 ？OK， now let's deal with required reserve ratio first. 我哋做咗 RRR 先。Since we already said do not keep excess reserve, so this 100 already is the minimum reserve. 於是啦，要計個 RRR 好容易啫 ，would be the minimum reserve divided by deposit would be 10% in our case. 呢阿 Sir 有咩 actual banking multiplier 啊，同 maximum possible banking multiplier 咩嚟嘅咧 ？OK， 原來咁啊 ，actual banking multiplier。OK，actual banking multiplier refers to actually let's write in the previous page, page 14. 原來佢講啦，實際上銀行做咗幾多using reserve, how much have they created the so-called deposit? So this one would just be deposit divided by actual reserve. OK， 有窒機添，寫得好啲好唔好啊 ？Deposit divided by actual reserve. While the maximum banking multiplier would follow another formula, which would just be 1 divided by RRR. OK， 你阿 Sir 有咩分別啊 ？You will see very soon. 好快你會見到個分別喺邊㗎啦。OK， now for this case, spoiler alert, they should be the same. 一陣間解點解啊？好嘛？嗱 ，actual banking multiplier again is deposit divided by reserve, right? Actually 係咪 reserve 唔係 minimum reserve 我寫錯咗係咪啊？ By actual reserve, right? 我頭先寫啱嘅。By actual reserve. In our case, it would be this divided by this equals to 10. While our maximum possible banking multiplier is 1 divided by RRR, 10%, which, by the way, also give us 10. 咦？呢兩個一樣嘅噃。記住先 we will compare this in our next example. OK， 好啦，嗱，so this is the original situation. Let's say the public deposit the $100 cash in the banks. We need to calculate the maximum possible change in deposit. OK, now boys, how do we do this? Let's first copy the balance sheets. Reserve 100. Deposit 1,000. Loan 900, right? Now the public deposit this money into bank. What happened? 記住啦 with a deposit of 100, immediately we know that reserve will become 200, right? 係嘛？ And deposit immediately plus 100. Okay, Then if you remember from the textbook, right? From the textbook, the process would continue, okay? 但係記唔記得 in the process, loan will keep going up. Deposit will keep going up. Only one number will not keep going up. It will be reserve. So boys, how do we calculate the final? 我哋而家啦係要計到個 final amount after credit creation. Okay, how do we calculate that? We follow steps. Step number 1. Let's calculate reserve, which here would just be 100 plus 100, 200. 而家 reserve 最後嘅 reserve 應該係200蚊嘅。Okay, then second step, we calculate deposit, which let us call D. 點計啊? Again, we know required reserve ratio is 10%, right? And here, since we are talking about maximum possible change, so here by maximum, this one should have no excess reserve. 係唔應該有 excess reserve 㗎。Therefore, we know that 200 is already the minimum reserve. 點解 minimum reserve 啊? Deposit times RRR. So in our case, RRR is 10%. We know that deposit will be 2,000 in our case. 好啦，最後一步啦。嗱，唔係每一條都要做嘅。Finally, right? Calculate loans. 點計 loans 啊？記住咯噃 ，reserve plus loan should equal to deposit. 係咪啊？ Now we have reserve 200, deposit 2,000. Therefore, loan would be this amount. OK, 嗱，但係你答咗條題目未啊？ No, you have not answered the question yet. The question asks for maximum possible change in deposit. So, the maximum change in deposit in our case would be final amount 2,000 minus the original amount 1,000, which would give us 1,000 as the maximum possible change in deposit. Okay, 得唔得? So this is how we calculate these things. Okay, 得唔得? 呢個就係我哋點樣去計啦。Follow these steps. 夠唔夠喉？唔夠喉，要做多啲，係嘛？ Let's try another example. Let's go to page 17. 17. Okay. Now on page 17, you are given this balance sheet. Now this time it is known that there is an excess reserve of $50， 係有50蚊 excess reserve 啊，好嘛？嗱，不過先計咗 money supply 先，記住 money supply CP plus deposit. CP holding $50 cash. Okay. What about deposit? 1,000. So we have 1,050 as our money supply. What about the required reserve ratio? 記住啊 required reserve ratio is the minimum reserve divided by deposit. 好啦，今次個 minimum reserve 係幾多啊？ 150, is it? No, there is an excess reserve 多咗50，所以係要減翻50。This is the minimum reserve divided by 1,000, which would give us 10%. 10% 啦。Okay, 10%. Now, what about the actual banking multiplier and maximum banking multiplier? 我哋望一望啦 ，maximum banking multiplier is still 1 divided by RRR. which would be 10 in our case 係10嘅啫。What about actual banking? Actual banking 記住啦，係講緊 actual reserve actual deposit 1000 divided by actual reserve 150, which in this case 幾多啊？ I think it's 6 point something, right? Let me check real quick. Okay, 1000 divided by 150, 6.67. It would be 6.67. 咦 6.67, 10. Do you see this time actual is smaller than the maximum? 點解今次唔同嘅？但係頭先嗰條又一樣嘅。The key as to why they are not the same is because one of the 3 assumptions for maximum deposit creation has been violated. Namely, 今次衰咗邊個啊？ We have excess reserve. 因為有 excess reserve 啊。Because this time we have excess reserve. That's why the actual multiplier is not as good as the maximum possible multiplier. 做唔到咁多 credit creation 啊 ，OK? They can't do that much credit creation because someone is holding excess reserve. OK, the bank. OK, 好嘛？嗱 if the public deposit into the cash, calculate the maximum possible change in deposit. 嗱，小心啲啊，好舊啊呢度。When we talk about maximum possible, it means that no excess reserve. Okay, 得唔得？ So how do we do this? Let's start with a new balance sheet. Okay, reserve used to be 150. Deposit used to be 1000. Loan used to be 850. Okay. Now, boys, we say that they deposit 50 into bank. What happens is that immediately with the deposit of $50, reserve would go up by 50. Now, for this step, boys, there is no need to worry about whether there was excess reserve or not. 係唔需要擔心㗎。原來前面嗰啲係全部 irrelevant 㗎。Since we only need to calculate the final change, we still follow the same 3 steps. Step number 1, let's get the new reserve, which would be 150 plus 50, 200. Then, 記唔記得啊？ Second step, we calculate deposit. How do we calculate deposit? We know that 200. If this has to be maximum possible change, this has to be the minimum reserve. Therefore, minimum reserve is just deposit times RRR, which in our case, if you remember, deposit would just be 2000. 又係咁啱嘅啫 2000. Okay? And final step. What about loan? Loan would just be 2000 minus 200. We have this one. Okay? So to answer the question, 我哋要去回答呢條問題啦。Okay? The maximum change in deposit is just, again, new 2000 minus original 1000. That would give us $1,000 change in total. Okay? 好啦 when we talk about maximum, 記唔記得啊？ What are the assumptions? Okay? The assumptions. No excess reserve. Second, no cash leakage. All money will be put back into the bank. And C, there is sufficient. Okay, there is sufficient demand for loan. Okay, 得唔得？ So these two examples, 嗱，你見啦，我哋講咗好耐啊。We already spent 24 minutes, 25 minutes, okay? But make sure you understand the calculation before you move on to the next video. 要斬開太長啦。Before you move on to the next video to talk, when we talk about the past papers and monetary base. 嗱，你如果呢條你睇唔明嘅話，你落下一條你嘥自己時間㗎咋。Okay, so please read the textbook and read these examples again before you move on. Okay, next video, promise you that will be the final video on past papers and monetary base. Okay, see you in the next video. Bye bye.